Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Fleetcast. And this week we are doing the final episode of the trio of anniversary episodes we got from Doctor Who. And this one I think is going to be a very, very interesting conversation with our little old Ben there. How are you doing this week, Ben?
I'm not bad. I'm sorry to have kept you up late.
Yes. So apologies everyone. I am very, 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 very tired. I'm a mama on the edge this close to Christmas, but when you guys see this, it will be pretty much after Christmas and be New Year's Eve. So happy nearly 2024.
Oh, which means when this goes out, I'm probably gonna be very, very drunk.
Most likely, and probably me too, but
Yeah.
allons-y.
Okay. Yeah. A watch party, yeah?
Yeah. It could be, it could be. But yes, this week's episode was called The Giggle. Before we get any further, I just want to go into a quick disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast tonight are solely those of the people here. Me and Ben, we are mega Doctor Who geeks, and it's literally just our opinions. We're not going to try and discuss anything controversial, but Doctor Who does bring up quite a lot of controversial or sensitive topics for some people. We do not endorse or promote discrimination, hate speech, or harmful behaviours towards individuals or groups. We are very much firm believers in no toxic Trek and no toxic fandom. If you do not agree with any part of this disclaimer, please just move along. So yes, so this week's episode was called The Giggle, and look at me getting the name of the episode correct.
Yeah, you got it this time.
I've got it this time.
No
It's
Wild Blue Yonder stuff.
yes. Wild Blue Yonder was a bit hard for me to remember, but that's okay. But yes. So, what were our expectations going into this, Ben? What were your theories?
Do you want me to just read the
Yes, just read
list?
them. Yeah, just read the list. Ben has
I
some
mean,
very interesting theories going into this, and I think they need to be shared with the wide world.
a couple of them were semi-right. So theory one was that the Doctor we've been following was going to turn out to be the Valeyard. Too long didn't read. The Valeyard's like the distillation of all the Doctor's negative emotions, originally said to come between his 12th and final incarnations. Later got kind of retconned because of how they did things with Matt Smith's tail end of his run. Um, just go and watch Trial of a Time Lord. It explains everything much better. And
Mm-hmm.
also, in my opinion, is probably the best stuff that Colin Baker did in the role outside of the audios. But anyway, the theory I had was that the Doctor we've been following was going to turn out to be that negative distillation, and when the 13th Doctor regenerated, she'd actually split off into the Valiant, played by David Tennant, and the Doctor, played by Cutie Gatwa. Um, who was then going to turn out
Spoilers!
to the
Spoilers!
no, I was finishing reading the thing. This was the theory. Who was then going to turn up very confused by his TARDIS having disappeared, hence the clip of what the hell is going on here. Which that was a theory that kind of came about due to the fact that the Doctor went into a very Machiavellian move with the Not Donna, even by his standards. Like, even for him, he went dark there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Theory two was that they were point blank going to just do a two Doctors with Doctors number 14 and 15 against the Toymaker, just because 60th anniversary multi-Doctor. Theory number three, again, multi-Doctor, but this time with the 10th and 14th Doctor, because you've already got David Tennant. Just have both David Tennants. And also, then we get the brown suit. I want that suit, damn. Then theory four was that they were going to do a reboot with some kind of reset of continuity to accommodate Disney Who. Yes, that is my headcanon name for this.
Okay, Disney Who. But can we not just call it the Whoverse? Is that what it's called?
Universe.
Universe.
Yeah,
God.
but I like Disney Who because it fits in with Disney Marvel and Disney Star Wars.
Yes, but then that makes the Master a princess.
I don't mind that. It also makes the Doctor a princess.
But yeah, you had some really good, interesting theories, and
Yeah.
I
Um.
I kind of liked a few of them, and
Yeah.
I was really on the bandwagon that I was really hoping that we were going to get the Vanguard, or we were going to get like a multi-doctor episode.
Yeah. One of my theories did involve them having, because there was a thing where Cutie Gatwa had said about he'd ended up in scene with William Hartnell,
Hmm.
which I sort of after the fact went, hang on a minute, he might have been talking about the end of Adventure of Space of
Yeah.
Time.
Yes. For anyone who
Um,
hasn't seen that, you need to go back and watch it again. If you watched it originally when it came out 10 years ago, you need to go back and watch it again because there's some
yeah,
changes to it,
they
which
did a thing.
they did a thing, and we're not going to spoil it for you, but you guys do need to go check it out. So yes, so going into this episode, I was just hopeful. I didn't really have any theories other than jumping on the bandwagon with what Ben said, but I really kind of liked how this episode started. Obviously, we started in 1925 London, obviously with Charles Banagher entering a toy store. Obviously, he's wanting to purchase a dummy, and the store's owner obviously is just he just very much delighted that he finds out who the gentleman's employer is, which is John Logie Bard.
he
Um,
he doesn't actually find out. I don't think. I think he actually mentions it first.
does he? I
I
don't
could
know.
be wrong here. I
I know.
might be
I
remembering it
think
wrong.
he discussed why they need the dummy, and then obviously he tells them that his employer is wanting to invent the television. Obviously, he doesn't use the word
Hmm.
television because I don't believe that's used then. But obviously, he goes
No.
into what his employer is, and obviously, Charles buys this test subject for his newest invention, and then obviously goes back to work, and he
Hmm.
kind of puts the dummy's head in front of the camera and begins the test, which is
Hmm.
basically the first ever television recording. And obviously, the camera's wheels spin, and obviously it burns the dummy.
Because the lights are so hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it kind of the dummy bursts into flames, and I'm not gonna lie, it was so creepy.
It reminded me of the end of Chucky.
Yes, it was just the whole vibe. It was just really creepy. All of a sudden, you were like, oh, oh. But then you hear the giggle, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That was creepy. Also, can we just take a minute to acknowledge the fact that the guy who played the bloke who actually goes to buy the dummy is actually very good.
yes, he's
But
such a good actor. Like,
he
he plays the role really, really, really well.
also, well, spoilers, but stuff with him later, so good.
Yes, yes. I think
That
we'll roll back to that. But
yeah.
then obviously we get the credit starts, and then we're back in the present time, 2023, with the Doctor, Donna,
Mm,
and Grandpa.
yeah.
And it's so sad because it's kind of obvious that
Him.
it's not him, but they're trying their best to kind of keep continuity, and it's
Mm,
sad, but it's
yeah.
we know why. And
Yeah.
this is where the Disney dollars are in effect, because the Doctor is like trying to work out what is going on.
Mm,
And obviously units show up, and they show up in a big way.
yeah, but also we've got Neil Patrick Harris just dancing around in a tuxedo in the
Yes,
background.
he is just so brilliant in the role, and the fact he just goes,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah,
He's very unnerving in that scene.
yes. And obviously we've seen this scene in the trailers, but I don't
Yeah.
think it gives the full effect in the trailers. I don't think it's until you see it
Mm.
actually in the scene fully that you're like, ooh, creepy.
But and also, I don't know if it was the same for you, but when I was watching it, even though you had all it, I mean, it reminded me very much of, funny enough, Airplane. because the guys who wrote that said that if you want to make something really entertaining, you need to have something. You need to either have nothing happening in the foreground with something happening in the background, or
Yeah,
vice versa.
yeah,
And that's very much what they're doing here because you've got the Doctor sort of trying to talk things down.
yeah,
Meanwhile, your eye line just keeps getting drawn to once again
yeah.
Neil
And
Patrick
obviously,
Harris at the back.
yeah, and obviously the doctor's trying to find out what's happening. He's questioning this guy, and this guy's admitting that everyone wants to be right. And we're
Yeah,
like, okay, that was not what we expected. We expected them to be angry. We didn't expect them to have the opinion that they are right 100% of the time. And it just kind of threw me.
and also you've just described the internet.
Certain parts of the internet, yes. Yeah,
You've just described Reddit pretty much.
yeah, yeah. And obviously we've got how they get rid of Grandpa is really good in this scene, I think, because you've got
Yeah,
Donna yelling at them, going, "You need to keep him safe." And I just found that how they did that in such a subtle way was just lovely. Like they didn't completely take him out of the series, because that is what we
yeah,
were concerned last week, weren't we? We were concerned that they were going to kill off the character.
yeah. I thought he was going to have been killed off at the
Yeah,
end of last week.
yeah, we were 100% convinced that he wasn't going to survive. But I think the fact that they've continued the character, even though
Mm,
you know Bernard's passed away.
mm.
um
They've done there very much what they did with the Brigadier in David Tennant's run
yeah,
and earlier Matt Smith's.
yes, yes, very much. But as the scene shifts on, we definitely see these Disney dollars in effect with
Yeah,
the helicopter scene and the going across London and
and
practically Stark Towers, or Avengers Towers.
yeah,
Sorry.
it was Avengers Tower.
Yeah,
Also, did you notice the throwback to Day of the Doctor in that scene?
with the scene with the TARDIS, with the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was like, if that doesn't happen in the 70th, I'm gonna be cross.
Well, I was just disappointed we didn't have David Tennant hanging off the bottom again.
Well, he's a bit older. He is a bit older than Matt Smith now, isn't he? Um,
Yeah, but
yeah.
it would have been funny.
And obviously we get into the unit, and obviously Unit HQ, and we're reunited with Shirley. Yay! And
Yeah.
obviously we get Kate Lethbridge Stewart. But they seem to be both inoculated from the chaos thanks to a unit created armband, which is called a Z-Dex.
Hmm.
Which kind of, I was like,
And
yeah,
I think you're forgetting someone though.
I haven't got to that part yet. I'm getting
Oh,
there.
no, that's before the Z-Dex.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
so what they did, what they basically they discuss and they try and work out what's going on, and obviously we've got Melanie Bush, as she's
Mm,
known, reappeared, which I think was just such a subtle kind of
mm,
nod to the past. I really enjoyed her as a I really enjoyed her as a character previously, but
mm.
having her here and having her older was just really fun.
And also, it's nice to see them showing some love to the, shall we say, less popular part of the classic series, which is the Colin Baker Sylvester McCoy part.
Yes. Yeah, very, very much. But I really, really enjoyed this scene, and obviously,
Mm.
they're all like, "Well, why are you immune?" And obviously, all of that. Um, but do you want to talk about what they have in Unit HQ? What's their
You mean the robot thing?
yeah, the robot thing? Is it
Yeah,
because
I
I
can't remember what they called it.
well I from what my research is, it was Venix, but then I was like, isn't that Power Rangers?
You thought it was Vengix.
Yes, but that's what it sounds like. It's how they're spelling it is they're spelling it. Let me see, where was it? VLINX. VLix. VLinks.
V-Links.
VLinks. VLinks. Yeah, so that's kind of how they're doing it. But I was a bit thrown because I don't know if I missed how Unit got this.
No, because I was also confused by that.
Okay.
Um, I wasn't sure it's meant to be something that they built. I mean, because initially I thought, is this meant to be something to do with Chameleon from the Tom Baker Doctor Who, where he had
Mhm.
the robot companion?
Yeah,
Which, by the way, if they were going to have a robot, um, just saying K9, like where was he?
where was K9 when this was all going on?
Yeah, like 60th anniversary,
Yeah,
doing robot K9.
yeah, but he's with Luke.
I mean, there was more than one K9. That was K9 Mark IV.
I know, but K9 1 to 3 probably aren't around.
Well,
They
three was blown up.
Yeah, so I suspect the other versions have become scrap.
Two got left somewhere. I can't remember who with. Anyway,
Yeah, but yeah, no. So this part kind of threw me because I was a bit like, huh, I don't understand what this is. But the obviously the doctor deduces that him and V-Links are immune to the alienness. But then they're
hmm.
like, okay, so why is Donna and Mel immune?
And why was Wilf
Yeah, yes. So we were like, and then obviously he deduces that it's probably because they've spent so much time
in the
in the
TARDIS?
TARDIS, so the TARDIS has protected them.
Yep.
Um,
Uh,
but yeah, no, this scene kind of obviously I was kind of a bit thrown as this kind of scene moved on, and it became really unsettling when Kate obviously ordered everyone to
uh,
obviously ordered herself to to take her armband off.
the thing is, it was such a well performed scene by the actress there.
Yes.
Like, it's the first time that they've done anything with her that I've really thought, wow, she's really, really good.
Yeah. And it was very
Because,
much not something that was what her dad would have done.
yeah.
So that's why I kind of liked it. But it did really throw me when she was going on. Like,
Well,
yeah,
what got me, and I get what they were going for. They wanted to have the bit where she's going, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry" at the end.
yeah,
But the bit where she says to Shirley about "I've seen you stand," yes, we've all seen that. We saw that at the start of the scene.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Like, at this point, you're calling a like you are literally calling a kettle black. You are calling water
yeah,
wet.
yeah. And it was kind of it kind of threw me because obviously we don't expect that from Kate.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, the other bit that threw me there was the fact that she starts going on the attack against the Doctor.
yeah, like she instantly switched, and it was just like I was like, "Ooh."
It's like, do, do, do you have an issue here?
Yeah, yeah. But do you know what I actually really liked about this scene? And
Go on.
it was the fact that when they were doing they were going through like the news shows. I
Hmm.
really liked the fact that they did Trinity Wells. It was she was basically she was one of the news anchors that was in the 2007 edition. And
Okay.
I really liked her cameo. I was going, I know her. But
I
yeah, no,
didn't even notice.
yeah. So obviously they had Trinity Wells who basically returned. She was, I want to say, she was in the 2007 edition episode, but I can't remember which one.
Uh,
It was something to do. I want to say it was something to do with,
I think I know which one it is.
yeah,
Let me double check. Uh, oh, she actually appeared in Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures as well,
yeah. But
and it
obviously,
is the
yeah,
because she was the one on Last of the Time Lord, not Sound of Drums.
yes, yes. She was doing the announcement to the
Yeah,
world.
about how President Winters is going to lead the. It's like, no,
Yeah,
President Winters is going to get shot.
yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, no, I really like the subtleness of having her back in it because I was like, oh, that was
It was
such a
so subtle, I didn't notice.
yeah. Well, it was my fact. It was my fact for this episode that there was a connection like that. The impressed?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, and obviously the scene kind of goes on, and the doctor starts analyzing um, the waveform and playing it as a sound. And obviously,
Mm.
I kind of liked the fact that it wasn't the doctor who deduced it; it was Donna, and it was down to the fact that she'd helped her daughter with a recorder. And I thought
Yeah,
that was just such a British thing that a mother has connected something because they've helped their child with a recorder. For anyone who is outside of the UK, every child has a recorder at one point in Britain.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the law, and we all have to play it.
It is basically the law.
Yeah, it's the law. You're just gonna have to trust us on this. But yeah, I really liked how it was Donna who introduced it, and then obviously they realised that it was the giggle that correspond to the Stucky Bill recording,
Yep.
and it
And also, it gave him an excuse to bring up the fact that Bonnie Langford, who plays Mel, used to be a singer.
yes, yeah. They did do something very subtle then. That was quite funny. I was just like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You can see that Bonnie Langford definitely did use it. Well, she still sings now.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I liked it. And then obviously once the doctors started going, he very much goes, and obviously he has been he kind of then starts using his sonic screwdriver on all the screens, turning them over to this recording that's been hidden since
Mm,
the beginning of televisions. And I was like this behind the pillow for about 10 minutes from the start of this scene, because obviously the doll appearing kind of was like, oh,
puppets.
the puppets. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's a bit freaky, and I didn't
But
like it, but
ironically, last week's was the one that they said was going to go into full on horror.
yeah,
This week felt more horror-y at
it
points.
did. It really, really did.
And
Um,
I think it's that uncanny valley thing because dolls,
yeah,
and it's just they're creepy.
yeah, and it threw me back to the first ever X-Files episode that really freaked me out, like the one with the China dolls.
I've not watched the X
You need
Files in so long.
you need
I've
to
watched
watch.
it a very long time ago.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously what kind of I liked about the scene was as it moved forward, you kind of work out where Earth is, what kind of state it is. Obviously, it's I would say technology wise, it's actually ahead of ours, because obviously the
Mm,
KOSat 5 satellite basically now connects the whole of
yeah.
humanity to the internet, which has allowed this to happen.
Mm.
Um,
And I like again you get that little reference back to sort of Sound of Drums Last of the Time Lords where they say, oh, it's not like the old Archangel network, it's been checked. And it's
yeah,
like, yeah, but
has it?
I'm
Has it?
also like, can you really say that that wouldn't have had any kind of checks done on it?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And what was interesting about this scene was the fact that everyone was kind of involved in finding the solution. You know,
mm,
Donna found the notes, and then I think it's Shirley who was trying to find the recording and trying to
yeah,
find the date and stuff. And then obviously the Doctor and the Donna, because she is the Donna. She will always be the Donna, even though
the
she's
Donna.
the Donna. They race back to the TARDIS to go back to 19.
Yeah,
Is it 1924?
1929,
29? Is it that?
I think.
25. 25.
25, beg your pardon.
And obviously they're searching for the cause of the madness that's sweeping humanity in the future. And they trace Stooky Bill
Mm.
to the toy shop. And then entering it, the Doctor runs into the owner, which reveals in all his creepiness glory the toy maker.
And there we get the great scene with the juggling, because anyone who's seen Neil Patrick Harris in his most famous role, that being Barney Stinson in How I Met Your Mother, knows that he does magic tricks.
Yes. Yes.
And they bring that in here.
Yes. I think this role literally played into every good character he's ever had, and he's shown a little bit of each of those characters as this episode goes on, and it's
Yeah,
such a fun role for him.
and
Creepy
also
but fun.
and also just the the ever so slightly adult joke they put in there.
Yes, yes.
But it's it's the kind of adult joke that you do get in Disney movies, in any
Yeah,
kids show, any kids film,
yeah,
where it'll be a double entendre. So in
yeah,
this case, it was like, I wondered who would have the balls.
yeah, yeah.
And you're
And
just,
it was just so funny.
yeah,
And what I thought was really good about this scene is the fact that they kind of showed the previous encounter, like the flash of the two
yeah,
scenes.
because you get the little flash with sort of the original maker played by Michael Gough, who, fun fact, was Alfred in the Michael Keaton Batman movies,
Yes,
and also the Val Kilmer and George Clooney ones. The
yes,
Val Kilmer one was, I quite enjoyed it. Had Renee Auberjonois in it as well.
yes. But
Um,
I liked that it kind of flashed between that they didn't kind of try and change anything, and it was still in black and white, which I was like, oh,
no, it wasn't.
was it
They
not?
had color. No, because funnily enough, one of the first episodes, obviously, where they've been going through colorizing
Ah,
the
okay.
Heartland episodes. One of the first ones they did was the toy maker.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't imagine why.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
sure that wasn't intentional at all.
No, I can't imagine it. But
Mm.
yeah, what was interesting was the doctor was like, Donna, you need to go back to the TARDIS, and Donna's like, yeah, no,
You,
that's not happening. And
but I
obviously,
just like the you never tell me to do that.
yeah,
And
she was very much unnerved by this scene.
but also the thing that got me there was like you never. But he tells everyone else to do it all the time.
Yeah, yeah, and he never tells Donna to do it, and it was interesting.
Mm.
But then it kind of gets a bit creepy in this episode, and I really, really struggled to the point that for anyone who's interested, I actually put a picture into the Discord of me hiding behind a pillow because I
I
was
remember that.
so freaked out by this episode. I watched this episode about an hour after I think Dulac and Paul had started watching it, and
Mm.
I was so freaked out by this labyrinth of
I started
scenes.
half hour late.
Yeah, I was about an hour, I think.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, the labyrinth of
yeah.
scenes, and
Oh,
obviously
you've.
they're stumbling around the fun house, and then they get separated. The doctor. I think I'll let you say what happens with the doctor and who he encounters because, obviously, yeah.
Oh, there you are.
I'm I'm not frozen. You are.
Oh, well, mine you were.
No. What I was saying, I said, do you want to talk? Do you want to talk about the encounter the doctor has?
Which one?
The one that he has with a Banadary.
Yes, because as I said earlier, the actor playing him is absolutely brilliant in this scene. And I saw a behind the scenes thing where basically they shot it 3 times. So once with the actor just there, once with him there in a blue suit because they need to be able to edit him, and once where he's not there at all. Instead, there was this headless puppet. Fun fact: that puppet body was not CG. That was a physical puppet that they actually had people puppeteering.
This part of this episode was so unnerving. I was terrified.
Everything. I mean, the first thing it reminded me of, particularly because of the bit where they keep going through the doors and it's all wrong, was, and I don't know how much you do in terms of video games here, but the Scarecrow sections of Batman Arkham Asylum,
No,
particularly the introduction. So in that, for example, the first time you do it is when you enter the morgue
okay.
and you go into the morgue, nothing's there, so you go to walk out, and you're in the morgue again.
Okay.
So you go to walk out, and you're in the morgue again. So the second time you go to walk out, so go to walk out first time, you're in the morgue again. This time round, there are body bags in the middle of the room. Then you go to walk out again. This time, the body bags are moving.
No.
So it's getting progressively more unsettling,
Yeah.
which is what you're getting here. Also reminded me of the hotel episode in Matt Smith's second series, the one with the Minotaur.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. yes, yes, yes. But this was very much Doctor Who horror at its best.
Yeah, like
Completely unsettling, but
I mean,
it just, yeah,
the puppet man was terrifying,
yes.
but more terrifying were the dolls.
What weird Donna?
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
and again, this reminded me of another Matt Smith episode. This one being the Angels Take Manhattan, where you've got all the baby angels in the cellar.
I think I've probably wiped this one from my memory.
The last one with Amy and Rory.
I've probably wiped it. If there's baby weeping angels, I've probably. Mm-mm.
Okay, it was a very similar tone,
Yeah,
and just as you say, horror at its
it
best.
was definitely Doctor Who horror at its best. I actually found it more unsettling than Blink. The
I
first
mean,
episode we get with the
I
weeping
know, I,
angels.
I know, I know which one you're talking about. I, to be fair, find most of the Weeping Angels subsequent appearance. I find they get more unsettling with each subsequent appearance up until that Angels takes Manhattan. Then they lose their teeth.
Mm,
Uh, Kind of like the Borg in Star Trek Next Generation. Like, they're intimidating in their
yeah,
first appearance.
yeah.
Then you get to Best of Both Worlds,
Hmm.
where they are literally the stuff of nightmares.
Yes.
Um, and then you get to Voyager, where they proceed to declaw them.
But yeah, no, this part with Donna was just really freaky. But I do like the
And then
fact that do you know what it felt like? It felt
go
like
on.
the scene from Resident Evil Annihilation when she's gone into the classroom and she's gone, Angela, and obviously all these zombie children turn around and obviously attack her. But it felt like that. It literally felt like that scene.
You know what? I have only watched the first Resident Evil film and a little bit of the second one. I love the games, and because I love the games, I hated the movies.
The movie, you need to watch the rest of the second film because this is where I'm thinking. This is where my head was, and the
Yeah,
fact that what I liked is Donna kicks ass in this part. She is, she's
yeah.
shouting, she's yelling.
It goes it goes from horror to almost Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, like in a split second, it was like that. But I think Catherine Tate played this role so well.
Mm,
It was such a good part of the whole thing. And then obviously the Doctor and the Donna are reunited. After we learn that Banageri he's basically turned into a puppet who dances on the toy maker's command after losing the game to remove the giggle in his head. It's
but
just
then
really
you get the even creepier shot there of where the toy maker says, "Now let me show you my favorite toy," and Banadry is replaced with the Doctor,
yes, yes. It's
and
just
it's
a
just
bit.
like, ugh.
And then obviously the Doctor and the Donna get reunited, and they find themselves as guests of honor at the toy maker's puppet show.
For his worldwide premiere.
Yes, I think this was probably what this is kind of where it's still very very unsettling because obviously the toy maker goes through everyone's stories since.
I loved this though,
Yeah, it was unnerving, but it was so interesting, and it kind of
and
gave me a little bit of a trip down memory lane.
yeah, well, what I love is obviously he keeps running through all the companions who die. Although he leaves Rory out, which felt
Rory
like
the
an oversight,
Roman,
and he left River out, which
but she,
again slight
I would
oversight.
I would have said that she's not a proper companion, even though she's
Also,
his wife.
also there's a whole wibbly wobbly timey wimey thing there, but
Yeah,
leaving Rory out, that was
disrespectful. Rory the
yeah.
Roman is the best of us.
Mm.
But yeah, I really.
Also, his deaths did become a meme.
Yes, yes,
But I love the fact that you've got the Doctor continually finding reasons why. Sort because like Amy Pond, oh, and she was touched by a weeping angel. She died. She died of old age. Well, that's all right then.
yeah. It
And
was
and
such a
then
good back and forth between them.
yeah, because every time like Clara, oh, she faced a raven and she died. She's still alive in the last second of her life.
Yeah,
Well, that's the one with Bill again. the problem is the way they closed her arc out was so convoluted you couldn't really explain it in a like
Yeah, it was a
single
bit. It
bit.
was a bit of an. It was a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, which is a shame because the end of her arc was one of the best bits of her arc. Like she's one of those characters who, when she was good, she was very very good. When she wasn't, she was very very one dimensional.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
liked Bill as a character. I think if we'd had another series of her, it would have been better.
yeah. I think just let her have more than her sexuality as a character trait. That is literally the biggest gripe I have with her. It it's well, ironically, it's one of the things that I think they did amazingly with Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, because a lot of people, myself being one of these people, thought that they were going to make her only character trait, oh, she's a woman now.
Yeah,
I believe it came up about 3 times in her entire run. The first time being in her first or second episode, where she has the line, "Come to daddy, I mean mummy, that's going to take some getting used to."
yeah,
And that's how you handle those things. You lampshade it once, and then you go, "This is normal. We never need to bring it. We don't need to keep bringing it up."
yeah,
And that is the single best way to handle things, in my opinion.
yeah. But like I said,
Yeah.
everyone's got an opinion. So
Yep.
yeah, and then obviously it carries on to the toy maker is quite dismissive in this part, and obviously he treats the doctor's nitpicking and explanations with quite a lot of contempt, and
Yeah.
I found that quite funny. Um, and then obviously he mentions the flux.
Mm,
And obviously the doctor then is unable to take anymore, and he challenges the toy maker to a game.
mm. Which, again, I noticed that I was a little bit surprised that there was no reference to any of the 13th Doctor's companions in there.
Yeah, yeah, but I wonder if that's because it's so close to
Recent.
yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Recent. It's so recent, and obviously
I
it maybe it would have been mentioned if he'd allowed to carry on after the flux. But yeah,
mm, uh, or the fact they didn't kill any of them off.
yeah,
That was a real thing in the Moffat era. He liked to
that's
kill
Moffat.
companions.
That's Moffat. He liked that type of thing, didn't he?
Yeah,
Um,
like he killed more companions than the entire classic series.
yeah. Um, and obviously the toy maker accepts, and quite I like what I liked is obviously he kind of brags about who he's won the game against recently,
Yes.
and we get the reveal that the master has lost the game.
Yeah. Which also, so that does two things. Because first of all, the toy maker reveals that he basically approached the master in the final moments of life. Because obviously we saw him last at the end of Power of the Doctor, where he was dying.
Yeah,
So the toy maker shows up there, challenges him to a game, and says, "Oh, if you win, I'll help you survive this."
yeah,
Interestingly, he then still lets him live. He just makes him live inside his gold tooth. But
yeah,
what this does is, because the whole point of the Master as a character is he is meant to be to the Doctor what Moriarty is to Sherlock Holmes. He is meant to be a perfect equal.
yes,
And what we're hearing here is, so the Master, who is literally just a perfect mirror for the Doctor, has already been beaten,
yes.
which very much helps set the stakes here.
But what was more intriguing about this scene, other than the mention of the master, is we get the mention of the one who waits, and the fact that the toy maker is scared of whoever the one who waits is, and hasn't challenged him.
Ooh. I mean, I could go into all sorts of theory crafting with that.
Yes, I
I'm
think
gonna
that I
skip. I'm
think
gonna
that's
skip it for now.
I think that's a whole different episode because I've got a few theories on that, but I think it was interesting that that was mentioned. The one who waits. It was yeah. There's a lot of theories, but I think that might be a
Mm,
different episode.
yeah.
I think we need a theories for season. Oh, what season are we on again, Ben?
Well, they're
15?
calling it season one, but it's series 14, and
Series.
also series 41,
Uh,
and it
I'm just gonna get
The
confused.
the problem is the naming convention was wrecked from Eccleston's first series
Yeah,
because of the fact that they went up to series 27 in the classic series,
yeah,
then they started again at series 1, and
yeah,
now they're starting again at season 1.
yeah.
So
It,
at this point, the numbering convention is
quick
about
theorist.
yeah. At this point, the numbering convention is about as simple as the numbering convention on Doctors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because that's
That's a bit complicated too, isn't it?
yeah, because it's the ninth Doctor, or 10th
Yeah,
Doctor,
it's just
and
too
it is
confusing.
Tennant playing the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, or the 14th, or the 15th, or
But yeah, and then obviously the doctor asks who the one who waits is, but then he considers that as a game for another day. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I need to know who that
mm,
is. And then
yeah,
obviously the doctor and the toy maker decide on a game, a simple cut of the decks, and where the highest card wins.
because what I love here as well is because Donna says about the toy maker will cheat,
Yes.
to which the Doctor says no, he's physically incapable of that, which we
Yeah.
know from the original.
Yeah.
Um, Interestingly, it's not so much he so he's incapable of breaking the rules of the game. He's not incapable of changing them,
Yeah.
and I feel like that is something of a distinction without a difference, and I kind of wish they'd gone into.
Yeah.
But also, we had a 1 hour episode to do this versus the original one that was like a 4 or 6 half-hour episode serial,
Yeah.
which had a lot more time to do
Yeah.
things in.
Yeah.
Um, and but I love the fact that as a result, the Doctor does feel the need to actually go at the start. Ace is high. Like, I'm not letting you change
Yeah.
this rule depending on who pulls the ace.
Yes.
And I legitimately thought that the ace was going to come up because of that.
Yeah.
I actually
I
thought
did
that
too.
I thought that was going to be the toy maker's card.
Yeah. Um, and then obviously it turns out the toy maker unveils a king, and obviously
The Doctor had 8.
yeah, the doctor loses.
Yeah.
Um,
That they missed such a good chance for an in joke here.
well, they did, but I don't think they're going to take as easy a joke as what we would like.
They
Um,
just have the Doctor pull the 10.
and then obviously the doctor, just as the toy maker is about to claim his prize, the doctor points out that a long time ago he won.
He beat him.
He beat him, so therefore they are tied. And per the rules of the game, a third game is required.
Mm.
Um, and this scene was just brilliant. You know, the toy maker agrees and he disappears, which causes the toy shop to start breaking down. And
Which I loved that because that is a throwback to the end of the original episode with the toy maker, where when he lost the Trilogic game, which was just Towers of Hanoi, to the first Doctor, the whole thing was if the Doctor made the final move that would beat him, his entire realm would just disappear.
yeah,
And basically, here the toy maker's leaving. So what happens? His entire realm
yeah,
disappears.
yeah. And obviously the doctor sort of starts to say to Donna, and she's like, "I'm already running." I really liked just how again in tune that they were, and how it kind of
mm,
showed how in tune they are. And obviously they escape the toy shop just about. They go back in the TARDIS and they head back to 2023.
yep.
And
We then get my favourite scene of the episode.
yes, yes, because okay, I'm gonna let you talk about this scene because it was good, and I think yeah,
So they get back to 2023 and they're talking about what happened. And then the Spice Girls starts playing.
spice up your
At
life,
which
every
point,
boy and every girl, spice up your life.
yeah, at which point the Doctor says, I think he's here. The toy maker comes out in like greatest showman type attire and has a full dance number
Yes,
to the Spice Girls.
it was. Do you know something? I actually think it was better than the Master in the last season dancing to
It was
Rasputin.
better than that. The one that I prefer with the Master, though, is still Voodoo Child in Sound of Drums.
Yes,
And also, I Can't Decide in Last of the Time Lords.
yes, yes. But what I like is the
Yeah.
fact that they make the villains have numbers. and
Yeah,
Spice Up Your Life will forever be ingrained in my head with the toy maker. It was
I
brilliant.
I have watched that scene more times than I care to admit.
It's
I
so
sent
funny.
that right. I was telling one of my colleagues at work, who, for context, this guy is a sort of a very manly man. But I was telling him, mate, you have to see this clip. You have, like, it's absolutely brilliant. I sent it to him. I'm not going to repeat his exact words because there was an F bomb in there, but he was like, "That is one of the funniest things I've ever seen," and that is
It was
absolutely
just
amazing.
the scene was just chaos, but it was so well
And
done.
yeah, and also, so he proceeds to throw Kate into the wall. To be honest, I'm pretty sure that if he spun Mel as fast as he actually does, he would probably kill her. But he does the mask spin with
Yeah,
her,
yeah,
and that's just it. Is literally the spin from the mask with
yeah,
Jim Carrey.
yeah.
Um, and then of course you got the bit where he kills the two guys by turning into a load of balls. You get the screaming head ball. That was creepy as all
That
hell.
was yeah,
And then, and also there you just get a moment of the doctor saying they're dead, but look, we can't do
yeah,
anything about that now. Just we need to move on.
yeah,
And I was very surprised we didn't get a "I'm sorry" from
yeah,
him because
yeah,
it's David Tennant as the doctor. That's
yeah.
like his favorite sentence, other than "what."
But the part that we missed in this episode before we get to
American
that scene,
Beauty,
pardon?
American Beauty.
Well, no. Before we get to this absolutely 10 out of 10 scene, we've forgotten to mention the gun, the ray gun.
Yes, because they also go back to the point from Capaldi's run, which was in I can't remember what the episode was called, but his first series finale, where they established that there's actually a rule established within the UN that in the event of any kind of hostile alien action, the Doctor is declared commander in chief of the entire world.
Yes, and what I liked about it is obviously Unit have got basically this big ray gun. There is a name for it. What is it called? It is called. Is it called anything?
They gave it a name, I can't remember what it was called.
Um, it doesn't. Well, either way, it's a big ray gun, and what they're basically going to use it to. Oh, galvantic beam. Basically, they're going to use this beam to shoot down the KSAT 5 satellite.
Yeah,
And obviously, it kind of breaking the giggle that's obviously engulfing the world. Obviously, and this happens before we get the 10 out of 10 Spice Up Your Life scene. Um,
mm,
and the toy maker disappears at the end of this scene, and they're all like, "Where is the toy maker?" Um, and obviously, the it turns out the toy maker has disappeared through the floor, and he is
yeah.
now manning the galvanic beam. Um, and
And where have my men gone? Is Kate's line here, to which the toy maker replies, "Well, I think they're still falling."
yeah, and it's like,
Which also, can we acknowledge here that Neil Patrick Harris does a really good British accent?
mm-hmm,
And the reason I address that is because so many times, and I don't know if you found this, but when you see stuff where an American actor will try to do a British accent, they just can't do it.
yeah, but he
And
did it so well.
I can count on one hand the number of actors that could do it.
Yeah,
Like as I say, Neil Patrick Harris does here. You've got Robert Downey Jr. in Sherlock Holmes,
yes,
but sort of outside of that, it doesn't really happen.
yeah. And it was a good scene, and obviously he did do their accent so well. But obviously he the toy maker is manning this beam, and it's so creepy because not one single person in this scene can do anything about the fact that he is manning
Yeah,
this beam. And obviously the doctor begs, he says he'll take the toy maker into the universe and they can play amongst the stars, but nothing they say does
he
anything.
tries the same thing he tried with the Master in Last of the Time
Yes,
Lords.
yes. And obviously, he basically, the toy maker says no. He's tempted, but he declines as
Mm,
he considers the Earth the ultimate playground due to the fact the human race, it's so full of anger and,
mm.
you know, but the Doctor demands that the toy maker finish their game, which then prompts the toy maker to shoot the Doctor through the stomach with the beam. Um,
Because, as he puts it, he played, and this particular line I do wish was written ever so slightly differently, but as he puts it, I played the first game with one doctor. I played the second game with this doctor. Therefore, your own rules decree that I should play the final game with the next doctor. I
yes,
love that.
yes. And
One change I would have made.
what's that?
The first bit I would have made the line, I played the first game with the first doctor.
Hmm.
That should have been the line, in my opinion. Just because we are on the anniversary episode.
Yeah,
So just point blank, give us that.
yeah. But yeah, no,
But that's a nitpick.
yeah, that's a bit of a nitpick. Um, and then it kind of just leads into what is the standard joke for David Tennant as the fact that he starts a regeneration and then the regeneration stops or changes.
Yeah, because he did that before as well.
Yeah, and obviously
Because
he
and
did it
also
with
with Donna.
the Meta Crisis Doctor.
Yeah, I have to admit, when he turned around and said, "Could you pull?" I thought they were going into a pull my finger joke. I really did.
He's such a child.
That's what it felt like, and particularly because you've got the toy maker, you're doing all these things about playing. I thought that they were going to turn his regeneration into a pull my finger joke.
That's ridiculous and hilarious all at the same time, and so on you, Ben. But yeah, and then obviously you've got Bonnie Langford pulling on one side, you've got Catherine Tate
Kevin
on the
Tate on the
other,
other.
and then all of a sudden this
There's
other
two of
doctor,
him.
there's two of them, and I like the fact that they're both like this, and they're both like, what
What?
looks what, and then
Also, what got me was it because they stole part of David Tennant's line here
mm-hmm,
because he only gets the first what?
yeah,
Because
obviously,
then Catherine Tate gets the second one and the toy maker gets the third.
yeah, and it's just everyone's like, huh,
But
and obviously the doc,
again, the only tweak I would have made there is I would have give him the first one, give Shooty the second one, and then just give them both the third one.
yeah. And obviously, what I liked about this was the Doctor's last words before obviously it all started was Alonzi.
Alonzi.
He kind of accepted it, and he was like, "Let's go."
What I love is that they established back in Midnight, which I don't know how true it is. I don't speak French. But Alonzi means "let's go."
Yeah,
It is literally an inversion of his "I don't want to go."
yeah, yeah.
Like
It
they had
literally
literally
is.
flipped it on its head.
And I think they planned it. you know.
Yeah.
Um.
Well, I was saying last week, I would like his final line to be something on the lines of "It's time to go."
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously, then the Doctor splits into two people, and we get
Yeah.
almost a scene that broke me,
Uh,
completely broke me because
which part
I'm going to tell you
was?
now. Okay, so this scene slightly broke me because obviously we get two doctors and they've got half the clothing. So my brain literally went, "Oh my god, David Tennant's not wearing underwear."
Well, but my brain went to, "Oh my god, can someone get Shooty Gat with some trousers?" That's where my brain went.
But that boy, he has some pins on him. Let's put it this way: those pins are good. He needs to, yeah, he can 100% wear a
Oh yeah,
kilt.
he pulled it off.
Yeah, he very much pulled it off. But it was just so funny, and now we understand what the thing was from the trailer.
What the
when he
hell
goes,
is going on
what
here?
the hell is going on? But then he quickly realizes, obviously, he dispels all the confusion that he seems to have bi-generated something that he thought was a myth.
What
And
I
yeah,
what I like here is that, and it's sort of implied but not outright stated, is that it goes back to that thing where the whole reason why the toy maker shows up is because the Doctor did that myth with the salt at the edge of the universe.
Yes.
But also it almost implies that the only reason why the whole bi-generation thing's even possible is because you have the toy maker there completely changing the rules of
Yes, and
reality.
making myths, making myths true.
Mm.
But it was just such a good way for
Mm.
us to get a new Doctor.
And to get a two Doctors.
Yes. And obviously they both challenge the Toymaker to a game.
Mm.
And they strike down his protest that he is cheating. The 15th Doctor was brought into the game according to his rules.
Mm.
Um, and then they begin one of the oldest games in the universe, a game of catch, where the first player who drops a ball
Drops the ball.
loses.
Which you then get the amazing bit where the 15th Doctor throws the ball really hard and the 14th nearly misses it
Yeah,
and goes, "Hey, I'm on your side.
yeah.
Sorry, I got a bit carried away."
They play the role together so well.
Hmm.
There is such a good back and forth between these two Doctors.
Hmm.
It was so good. I really, really enjoyed this scene. And then obviously we get the toy maker who eventually loses, and he is literally stunned that he is lost.
Hmm. Which, I mean, it wasn't surprising that he lost,
Yeah,
not just because it's Doctor Who,
yeah.
but because, dude, you like, regardless of whether they're not cheating, it is still a 2-on-1 game. They do still have a technical edge.
Yeah. And obviously, the Doctor claims his prize, for ever banishing the toy maker from existence, and the toy maker
No,
cries
from
out
the
that.
universe. There's
So,
a slight dip. He
oh,
still
okay,
exists, just he
okay,
can't come to our universe. So,
okay. I would have said it was from existence, but okay. And obviously,
no, because he actually says from the universe.
okay. And what I liked is the toy maker cries out that his legions will come for them before he folds up. Like,
And other people's legions as well.
yeah,
So we have to assume. So one of the things I've seen online, which I hope they do, is that one of the legions in particular is the tricksters,
could be.
because it'd be nice to have him back. To be
Yeah,
fair,
I have a theory that they're gonna go for a lot of the old school villains and
so
concepts.
I yeah, I mean, ones that I would love to see come out of it. You keep missing the ball here, like Doctor Who production. Just Omega, just do Omega for God's sakes.
I think they will probably go back to some of those concepts. I really do think so.
I also
Um,
I want them to go back to, because there was a whole thing in the classic series where it mentions that there in the classic series the Time Lords had only ever gone to war once, and that was with the great vampires.
okay.
So bring that back, because
Yeah.
also we've established you're not bringing back the other ones that the Time Lords went to war with anytime soon.
Well, yeah. And obviously, Unit then takes the basically the toy maker kind of he kind of
Folds into a box.
yeah he kind of folds up like a paper doll, and he slots inside his toy box, and then Unit takes it to the deepest vault to bind in salt. And then obviously we get the waveform that was making people all angry and think they were all right dissipates.
Hmm.
But then we are left with a question, because the toy maker's gold tooth is on the floor. Who then we see a female hand pick it up.
Wearing red nail polish. I feel like I've seen this somewhere before, but I can't think where.
Yeah, yeah. But for anyone who wasn't on the Discord, you could actually there was a thing where we were all, I think, at one point trying to work out who had
Who
red nail
said
varnish.
who said Kate?
Not me. I said Shirley.
Well, especially based on the logic of Russell T Davies.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
100% convinced it's Shirley. Shirley is a bad
because
guy.
she is in a wheelchair, and
No,
as they
I just
established,
it's
the
the vibe.
production staff of Doctor Who have a real problem
I
with
know, but
associating wheelchairs with
yeah,
evil.
but I do have a vibe that it's Shirley. I do 100% believe it's Shirley. Um,
That would actually be very good. Um,
yeah,
because also she's an interesting enough character that I wouldn't mind you bringing her back like that. That's the
yeah.
thing.
But what I liked is we actually got the laugh from the doctor, like, and there was several different laughs.
Mm,
Did you notice that?
I
Did you?
didn't know.
Yeah, no, we got different. We got all of the, we got basically. I think it was pretty much every incarnation laughing.
I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah, but it was so small. But it was I just noticed it just because
Mm.
I had the television quite loud. So then we've defeated the bad guy, and now we have to deal with the bi generation regeneration.
Yeah, though they really, really should have stopped for 5 minutes here to get that boy some trousers.
No, I liked it. I'm not gonna lie. For once, I really enjoyed what it was because it showed the chaos of the scene.
And
Um,
also to get the 14th Doctor some underpants.
but seriously, my mind just went. I was like, oh my goodness, David Tennant.
David Tennant's Commando.
Yeah, he's commando. He doesn't have it. And how is he gonna play catch? Um, but yes. So this scene then was quite funny. I've broke Ben. I'm sorry.
It's fine. You just made me go Picard.
But yeah, so in this scene, we then kind of roll on, and the 14th and the 15th are trying to work out, well, what's going to happen now? Do we have a
Who gets
TARDIS?
the TARDIS?
Yeah, who gets the TARDIS? And then they kind of bi-generate the TARDIS, but it has been confirmed that the 15th has the original TARDIS.
Which is weird because the shot implies the exact opposite.
Yes, but
It is suck, and that's the bit that threw me, especially because the 15th one had an extra bit in it. I was
yeah,
like,
but it has been
was,
confirmed that it is, and there will be a scene
I saw
establishing
that.
it. There will be a scene establishing it in the Christmas episode.
Yeah, they got to explain that.
Yes.
Um, but
Yeah, I
I
just
have a love-hate relationship with what they do here. I really do.
which part?
What they do with the 14th.
See, I think it was a good way to establish moving forward. That version of the Doctor has had so much happen to him.
Mm,
Oh, happen to them, her, him, that
yeah.
he needs time to heal.
So
Um,
what I do like, I like the explanation of doing therapy out of order.
yes.
Partly because I thought the line itself was actually quite poetic,
Yes.
and I do like a good poetic line.
Yeah.
Um, but it does raise the question of which I've seen come up a lot online. What happens when the 14th Doctor reaches the end of his life? Does he regenerate?
He's going to be the creator.
That's what I've seen a lot of people
Yeah.
theorizing. Or the other theory I've seen is that he is going to end up basically when he reaches the end of his life, he'll just cease to be, and then all of his experiences and memories just automatically get reabsorbed into the 15th.
I'm quite happy either way.
I prefer the curator option.
Yeah.
I also like the idea that over time, because obviously I'm going to finish that explanation when we get to the very end,
Okay.
because
Hold that
otherwise I'm
thought,
about
people.
to.
Hold that.
Yeah,
Hold that
hold
thought,
that
people.
thought for like the next 2 minutes.
Okay, so yeah, so then we go on. Obviously, he boards the TARDIS, which contains a jukebox, and the
He
14th.
doesn't like the jukebox.
Yeah, he doesn't like the jukebox. And obviously the the 15th Doctor goes off to explore the universe.
Mm,
Which I thought was quite a nice scene. And then
mm.
we get to the scene that pretty much has broken a lot of Who fans, that the Doctor has a life with the Donald Templetons. Is that right? Donald
The
Templeton.
noble temple
Yeah,
people.
Yeah, and we have the scene where the doctor was domesticated. He's having a family meal.
Mm.
Mel Bush shows up because she's supposedly part of the
Mad
family
Auntie
now.
Mel.
Yeah, mad Auntie Mel.
I like that line. I love that
Yeah,
line.
that was quite a good line. And then obviously we've got Grandpa who is off shooting moles.
But it's which is great because he used to narrate the Wombles.
Yes, which I was like, they didn't, but they did. They did.
And then, but then the doctor says about how he loves the moles, so he gave them
Yeah.
all force fields.
Yes. 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 And it was just was such a good scene. I like this scene. I know a lot of the internet doesn't like this scene. They thought the doctor was a little bit too domesticated and he was using his TARDIS in the wrong way.
Uh, Again, love hate relationship with it.
Yeah.
Uh, I like what they're going for.
Yeah.
I do feel, as I've said, that he ends up with the wrong one of his companions,
Yeah.
and you are frozen.
I'm still here. I'm very much still here. You're gonna create me to be having to edit again, aren't you, Ben?
Funny.
I'm here. I don't go anywhere. You freeze.
Yeah, on my screen you do, and you froze like this as well. So it like you're picking your nose.
I definitely wasn't. I've got an itch. I'm having really bad allergies today, and
Oh
I'm just
no,
like this.
but I was doing it earlier, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But no, as I say, love hate relationship. I do feel like, as I've said, he ends up with the wrong one of his companions.
Yeah.
Uh, because it should have been Rose.
But she's not in the universe, so I think that's okay.
TARDIS.
But the TARDIS can't get through universes.
Well, it can. It just causes issues,
Yeah. Yeah. Let's not cause issues.
and
But
also it only caused issues because the Time Lords weren't around, which they kind of are now.
they're
It's a
not.
whole. Well, they are and they're not. It's a weird thing because time travel, technically speaking, you can't get rid of them.
Yeah,
It's
it's a bit of a grey area. But
yeah,
yeah, no,
cause and effect. Uh,
yeah, it's a bit of a
but
bit of a weird one.
yeah, but either way, it was a nice ending.
Yeah.
Um, and also it does leave it open for because a lot of people keep saying, "Oh, they should do a unit spin off. They should do a unit spin off." Okay, well, I'm sorry, but surely you are no longer qualified to be the chief scientific advisor, not by a long shot, because they can have scientific advisor number one.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that should be there as well.
The thing to do there is have her as a regular and just have him recurring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the other thing is, if you put him in it,
It
he's got
all
to solve
becomes
every he's got to solve everything in 5 minutes every time. That's the
yeah.
problem. He
Yeah.
like he would be a Doctor Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Um, so they'd have to be very, very careful with that. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I wouldn't mind it
Yes.
because, well, more Tenant.
Well, yeah, and this is my only critique of how this ends.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of the fact that they've left the door so open for David Tennant to return. I know why they've done it, but that is my only critique of the whole thing is they've left the door so wide open he doesn't even need
I
to
mean,
ask. He can just step
I
through the
mean,
door.
yeah. So I'm now going to go into my little theory
Okay.
because it ties into this ending,
Okay.
and it also ties into one of my other theories I had.
You're full of theories?
Yeah. So I had the whole theory that he was going to turn out to be the Valiard,
Yeah.
which we know the whole thing is the Valiard's meant to be a version that splits off. What if, because obviously he's going to be staying there, at which point you remember his issue with sort of his relationship with Rose in series 2.
Yeah.
Where specifically the line was, you can spend the rest of your life with me, but I can't spend the rest of mine with you.
Yeah.
And that humans wither and die.
Yeah.
He is going to be sat there watching every single one of them do that.
Mm.
And he said just having him leave breaks him.
Yeah.
So what's that going to do to him?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's going to be where we get the Valiard.
It could be. It could totally lead to the Valiard, and maybe that is exactly where we're heading.
To be fair, I kind of want that to be the one who waits.
It could be.
And
I'd be very
don't get me wrong,
excited if it is.
so many people, like so many fans, would be up in arms over it, but make David Tennant the big villain for Cutie Gatwas series.
It would be so good.
And also, it would completely subvert the expectation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you then have a logical reason for him to have been kept around the way he was, aside from, oh, we want to give him a happy ending.
Yeah.
And actually make it, no, you weren't giving him a happy ending at all.
You were great in the Vineyard.
You were giving him the worst possible ending.
It would be really good to do that. But should we get to the nitty gritty?
Yeah.
What is your score for this episode? 5.
Yeah, for all of my pet peeves, that
But
dance number.
you can't see this, but do you know what the score is?
Doctors.
Puppets.
Oh, should have been doctors.
It's puppets. Puppets on a string.
Ugh.
Yeah. Okay, so in a similar vein, I'm giving 5 because I think, along with you, it was a very good episode. It was, I think, the strongest episode of the season, or the mini seasons, shall we say?
I think they were getting progressively stronger as they went, in my opinion.
In your
I know
opinion?
that you and I differed on 1 and 2.
Yes, we differed on last week's the Blue Yonder episode.
Yeah.
So yes, I think this episode deserves 5 out of 5 because of just how genius it was. There were so many little bits that were just so good. Like we had, the spice at your life scene, the scene where we link back to the master, Donna Noble. Just there was just so many good points about it.
Puppet Pond.
Puppet Ponds, yeah, there was just so many good parts about it. I couldn't not give it a 5.
Which, yeah, I, as I said, spice up your life basically meant that all my nitpicks kind of go out the window.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, that pushed it to like an 11 out of 5. So at that point, it's just
it was this episode was just so good.
Neil Patrick Harris was very much a show stealer.
Yes.
Like I know a lot of people going, "Oh, Cutie Gatwa really stole it," but no, like he is a really good actor. I'm not knocking him in any way, shape,
I
or
think
form.
he did steal it, but we have a different of opinion.
Yeah, it's very difficult because I am actually a fan of both of those actors.
Yeah.
But I just love that they let Neil Patrick Harris basically do what he does. They let him do his comedy. Because obviously he was like a Tony Award winning Broadway performer, which they really used. He does his close up magic. And like they put everything in. And as you said, it's basically a greatest hits album of what he does.
Yeah, it pretty much was a greatest hits album. I very much wasn't disappointed. I was prepared to be disappointed with this episode and how they resolved everything. But I didn't find myself wanting for anything. I found it very subtly all my issues were kind of melted away.
Yeah. I was expecting to have little nitpicks at the end. And I was basically going in prepared to just go, right, I'm going to leave them at the door.
Yeah.
Because, well, there comes a point where you have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But overall, it was absolutely excellent.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought.
Creepy, but excellent.
Yeah. And puppets.
Yes. Puppets, yeah. I think yeah, this episode was terrifying, but it was it was so good.
There is one more joke that I would have put in.
Okay.
And this would just be purely for the throwback.
Okay.
And it's a throwback to Matt Smith.
Okay.
when they're all sat there having lunch or dinner, whatever it is, have someone have sort of they pour out glasses of wine for everyone, and have the doctor take the swig. And so, do you know how they always did that with Matt Smith?
Yes,
Anytime he had wine,
yes,
he'll
yes,
drink it and then spit it back out
yeah, yeah.
and do that same.
Like he'd forgotten that he didn't like wine.
Yeah, and just do that again,
Yeah, but
just for the comedy moment.
but it's David Tennant. He doesn't do that type of comedy.
I mean, to be fair, he's proven he's quite versatile over the
He's
last few
versatile, but
episodes.
I don't think he would do that type of comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
yes. So I wasn't disappointed with this episode, and I'm very much looking forward to the Christmas Day episode. It's very early in the day, so I will not be watching it until later on. It's at
What
like
time is it?
it's 5:55.
Oh, I probably
Yeah,
won't watch that until the evening.
yeah. I won't be watching it until after China
Yeah.
One goes to bed.
Yeah. I I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sold on the new screwdriver.
Yeah,
The
not
Sonic remote doesn't do it for me.
yeah, but I think that's a whole different episode. I think we need to do an episode on all the things that are coming out at some point,
Hmm.
and just discuss that.
Which will undoubtedly end up coming out after all those things have already come out, and then yeah,
Maybe. I might change the schedule. I might just throw caution to the wind and do it.
just put them all out in one day.
Yes, yeah, Doctor Who Day. But yeah,
That was last month.
but yeah, so yeah, so the next episode, actually, we don't actually have any more episodes planned at this point because this is you guys are going to be seeing this in 3 weeks' time. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Anything else you want to say about this episode, Ben?
um, yes, it needed more doctors.
Oh, okay. Right. On that note, we're gonna bid you Alonzi and see you guys next time. Bye.
Geronimo.